Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Matt Williams. I'm a tutor in politics here at Jesus College at the University of Oxford. I'm speaking to you currently from our new roof terrace, which is really cool, so welcome to that. I had the amazing pleasure the other day of meeting a man called Suleiman Iqbal. Suleiman had founded a charity called Team Upside that worked with underprivileged young people in London to help them grow their potential, meet their potential, and close any information gaps they might have. And when we were chatting, he exposed an enormous information gap that I have in my own mind, which is when he asked me, what is a university for? What is all this? What is all this for? The University of Oxford, what is it doing? What is the purpose of it? Such a good question. And I'm ashamed to admit that despite living and working in universities my entire adult life, I've never fully interrogated the question. So what I started to do is exactly what I do in Oxford tutorials, which is to try and deconstruct the question point by point and try and work it out. And so starting with a sort of semantic analysis, think about what do the words mean, what does a university even mean, sort of literally or etymologically. It comes from the Latin word, same root as universe, meaning the whole or the collective. And we think the University of Oxford was founded in that church spire. I'm not sure if you can see that behind me, which is the Church of St Mary the Virgin, with this evidence of teaching in the city of Oxford going back to 1096. And the idea was that the church wanted to bring together lots of teachers so that they could kind of keep an eye on them, and so they could potentially also earn some money from them. But the point of a university is a little bit like a corporation. It's bringing together practitioners in one place in order to achieve sort of benefits of scale. And that kind of hints at something that is relevant to modern universities, a whole that is greater than the sum of its parts, that we all sort of collaborate together in order to achieve certain goals. But then I think even a more interesting word in the question, what is university for, is the preposition for. What does it do? What purpose does a university meet? Who does it work with? Why does it do what it does? I mean, the fairly sort of neat and obvious answer to that is that we teach and we research things. But then again, who do you teach? What do you teach? Why do you teach it? How do you teach it? These are all sort of really fascinating, very, very complicated questions. And not with a simple answer. I suppose that sort of the neat and practical answer that a lot of people might be familiar with is that we seek certain socially beneficial consequences. So whether or not it's administering billions of doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, or it's solving Fermat's last theory, or developing lithium-ion batteries, all of which were done here at the University of Oxford. These are sort of socially consequential advancements that it seems to be a good reason for having a university in order to achieve those sorts of goals. The problem is that we also teach a lot of things that don't have such an obvious payoff in terms of society. So for example, if you come here to study history, you can learn about 14th century crime and punishment in England, which, no doubt fascinating, is not necessarily so obviously going to lead to some sort of social advancement or technological breakthrough. So then we need to widen the understanding of what universities are for beyond just the social aggregate benefit to the individual benefit. What does an individual who studies 14th century crime and punishment in England take away? Well, they take away extraordinary skills in terms of research, in terms of data management, in terms of structuring an argument, which they can then use to apply to all sorts of other problem solving in their lives, in their work, and all sorts of other places. So universities are incredibly empowering to the individual. But I suppose we're still, to a significant extent, talking in consequentialist terms. In other words, universities are for doing some good, either on the social level or the individual level. But is there some other way we can conceptualize universities? I think there is. I mean, I'm not trying to diminish the importance of the consequences of universities and why they exist. But there's also sort of an intrinsic element to which universities exist. They exist because they're kind of an extension of ourselves, an extension of our natures. Ever since writing was invented, we've been able as a species to hand down knowledge to generations as yet unborn. And we have developed a crystallized brain, if you like. In other words, a mind that is extensive beyond the lump of fat between our ears, because we can put down notes and we can store them. It's a bit like sort of collecting our thoughts and sharing them with other people. And of course, universities are kind of an extension of that. This is almost saying, therefore, that universities exist because they are a part of us. We are an incredibly curious and sociable species. We want to develop our thinking. We want to know more about the world. Whether or not that has some sort of concrete consequential payoff either for the individual or society is somewhat immaterial, because the main thing is that it does what we do. It looks at things, it tries to work stuff out, not necessarily because that will lead to anything, but just because it is who we are. So what universities are for is doing what we do, fundamentally. But let me know what you think in the comments, and thanks for watching. All the best. Bye now.